Tip number 3 is a little bit more complicated. I hope I can explain it properly. This is value anchored color substitution. Let's go. These are standalone videos, so you can watch this on its own, but it's nice to refer back to some of the old videos I made, and I've covered some of the grounds. I will put a link in the video here so that you can easily reference it. There are 4 steps to understand this tip. I'll break it down so that you understand it. The first one is to know the color values of your palette. The second is to study the subject and the scene you want to paint and understand the values of that subject that you're painting. Third is to learn to substitute the color. As long as the value remains the same, you can use any color with that value. Finally, it's always preferred to apply a color scheme for greater effect, but this is optional. Right, assuming you have a palette with all these colors, you need to get to know the value of this palette that you own. How do you do that? Well, you do a swatch of the colors that you have on the typical paper that you used, and each of those colors using appropriate amount of water. Of course, the amount of water impact the value as well, but that's besides the point. The key is that you get to know the colors that you have. And then you take a photo, a black and white photo of the swatch that you did, or you do a scan and then convert it into black and white. Now you can see the values of the colors that you own. Using the black and white chart that you have just made from the photo that you have scanned, or using black and white photograph, you can now number the values. As you can see here, I've numbered 1 to 5, the color and the respective value of the color. This is what I mean by understanding the value of your colors. Now, of course, I'm using a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the darkest, 1 being the lightest. You can see the white is 1 and the black that I have there is 5. Step number 2 is to study the subject, assuming we want to do this chilies or pepper, and we're going to make it into a black and white photograph, and you can see the value map of this photo. So here you go, what I think value from 1 to 5, although it's not quite 5, I think it's more 4. So step number 3, you can paint any color you like. The freedom of colors, of course guided and anchored by values, hence the name value anchored color substitution. Make sense? I made it up, by the way. I thought it was quite fun to call it VEX. For greater effect, you should employ a specific color scheme. Some of the example here would be tetradic color scheme. Of course, my favorite is complementary color scheme. You can look up the other color schemes if you like. This video is not about it, but the point is that you can use color scheme to make your sketches more impactful. A quick illustration would be when I use this color scheme for this simple abstract sort of sketch. Anyway, let's give you a demo. We're gonna go and do this pepper. Well, if the first thing we do is to study the colors we're gonna use, and we're gonna understand at least how to make value 1, 2, 4, maybe 3 and 4. So for value 1 is lemon yellow, value 2 is new gamboge, 3 is a combination of cobalt with queen rose, and 4 is a combination of permanent alizarin crimson with French ultramarine. Let's draw this pepper real quick using my trusted Sailor Field Nib fountain pen. Very simple and not very complicated. I'm just making a mess of the lines, but it doesn't matter, it's for illustration purposes. As you can see, as I'm drawing, I'm also noticing where are the highlights and so on. Now I'm going to show you the black and white photograph so you can see the value map of the peppers. I'm marking the color for you, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and you can see the colors in black and white. I'll show you shortly that they are basically the value map that I'm trying to match to the painting. So basically you get the idea. I'm now painting, switching off my brain, but not switching off on behalf of values. I'm thinking values, I'm throwing in what I think are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 from a scale of 1 to 5, and I'm basically just dumping colors with wild abandonment. Get it? It's fun. Of course, it might not look like pepper at the end, but that's not the point. The point is I can now use any color scheme I want. I can make portraits, I can do all sorts of scenery using the color schemes that I like, and it should kinda at least work to a large extent, or at least that's the scheme and the recipe you're employing, and it will give you a very nice sketch. At least it looks very loose because you have abandoned the original color. At least that's the idea. There's a lot of experimentation you can do with this technique, but you still need to watch out for the other concept, tip 1, tip 2, where you don't paint to the edge, you can splatter, you can watch the edges, and so on and so forth. So let me finish up this sketch, wait a little while, evaluate, put my name, wait for some of the pigment to dry, and see what else I need to do. I might want to smash in some additional colors just for, I kind of lost value 3 in the process, but anyway, I'm not going to go back and do another one because I don't have much time these days. But I think you get the idea, that I could do a value 1, 2, somehow I lost 3, I have a lot of 4s, but if you look at the original 2 pepper photo in black and white, you will see that value 3s are very minimal anyway. So I've gone in, I'm kind of splatter all over, make it more, draw some lines just for fun, and there you go. If you compare the two, they are not that far apart. So I hope you get the idea. Let me just quickly walk through some of the other sketch I use this recipe. This 2 cherries, you've seen it before. Basically, it's the same. I employ a analogous color scheme, more or less, with a bit of green thrown in, but it's by and large from yellow to purple, more or less. That's the range of colors I'm using. This one is a complementary where purple, yellow is kind of used, and of course it's not a single yellow and not a single purple either, so there are some variety of it. Lots of the colors are just tiny dots, and but the color scheme is obvious. It's a complementary yellow purple, and the last example is here where I'm also using yellow purple with orange and reds and blue thrown in. But again, when I painted this, it was absolutely critical to get the values right. So the idea here is anchor your sketch with different colors, wild colors, but make sure your values are correct and you anchor the whole thing with values. Alright, stay safe wherever you are. This is Whee Teck out for now. Bye.